Hi and welcome to WoW Flash. This is my look back at the news from the past week on anything at all to do with Warcraft that's of interest to me. So, if you're now sick of any sort of political discussion, then you can bury yourself in Azeroth, where of course we never change our leaders. Oh wait, we just changed both, didn't we? At least there wasn't a messy election to go through it all. So, in terms of what's been happening the last week, well, there's still been a little bit of fallout from BlizzCon. Fallout's probably not the right word, but little things keep cropping up that I sort of missed at BlizzCon and were maybe not in the live panels or anything like that, or that you could see via the virtual ticket. So there's a few things to talk through there. There's going to be a live Q&A tonight, not mine this time. Ian Hazakostas, the director of World of Warcraft, is doing another one of his Q&A streams. That's going to be tonight on World of Warcraft's Twitch. So I'll be watching that a bit later on and reporting back if he talks about anything interesting in a video this weekend sometime. Of course, if it's just tidying up what he talked about at BlizzCon, which it may well be, then I'll just sort of add it in any clarifications to next week's WoW Flash. There are some other reaction vlogs. I brought one out yesterday related to BlizzCon. I'd intended to bring out several more this week, but of course we had a few other things to do. I did the one on talents last night. There are a few other ones that came out of BlizzCon that I want to talk about in more detail as well. So I'll be doing that as and when I get time for that. In terms of sort of news related to World of Warcraft, not necessarily directly related to BlizzCon, the quick join notification. This is causing a lot of headaches for a lot of people. There's an annoying ding and thing showing up with it. A lot of people don't like it. Blizzard have actually responded by saying that they are going to look at it. They're going to pass the feedback. I mean, of course, I don't think it was a developer that responded to this. I think it was a community manager. That they'll pass the feedback and I think they'll tone it down, or at least give an option to turn it off. Now, if you want an option to turn it off sooner rather than later, someone has already created an add-on just to do this, and I will try and put a link in the description below to where you can download this add-on from Curse if it is being problematic for you. Legendaries, this is one of the little side discussions on Legendaries, not directly related to BlizzCon, or at least I never saw this discussion from anything on BlizzCon. People were asking, so these new, because they were talking about new legendaries, the fact that at some point in the expansion there will be even more legendaries, and that's the point at which you would be able to target specific ones. So what they were saying was they were trying to be very coy about it. The upshot of it, as far as I can tell from what they're saying, is these new legendaries might start appearing before 7.2 or after 7.2. They won't really be drawn on it. So yes. There could be new legendaries coming in as early, I suppose that would mean, as 7.1.5. I don't think it'll be too much of a surprise, because of course as soon as they're in the game, someone is sure to data mine them. Of course, as soon as you data mine, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is in the game at that point, but it would be a good indicator. So time will tell on that one. Maybe the new ones will appear in 7.2, maybe they will appear before. Who knows, they're not saying. They said there's no more plans for any more water walking mounts. Blizzard were quite irked at the fact that people use the Azure Water Strider a lot. And I suppose some players are irked by the fact that people have these Water Striders and they don't, because what you've got to do to get them is to go back to Mists of Pandaria and farm some rep. If you weren't playing at that time, you would absolutely have it because it was godsend. Of course, Pandaria was a sort of island. You didn't really need the water walking mount very much in MoB. It came in much more useful, I found, in WoD and then again in Legion. Legion is really invaluable. And there was a point in Alpha at which they disabled it. I said, no, we're not having it. And the reason they gave is they didn't like the idea that everyone's on the same mount. Ian had even had a little humorous aside about it. He was at BlizzCon, he said, so I can't remember what he was talking about. And he was saying about something like getting on your mount. And by mount, I mean Water Strider. Because it's pretty much what I mean, I have a selection on my bars. I don't always use the Water Walking Strider. Water Walk, the thing, I don't care what it's called. Azure Water Strider. Unless I absolutely have to. But yeah, Blizzard don't like it because they fear that players are feeling compelled to use a particular mount, unless of course they're a Death Knight, instead of, or Shaman, I suppose, instead of being able to use the mount they want to use. But at the same time, they don't want to bring out any new ones, which would be helpful for people who want it and don't want to go and farm back on Pandaria. So, I mean, this discussion came about because they were trying to say that, you know, when flying comes into it, it won't be such a big deal. You won't need the Strider. You just fly. But until that point, yeah, there are no more plans to bring any more water walking mounts into the game, which is a bit of a shame. Because as I say, in Alpha, they did remove them. And then there was a massive backlash. You've never seen anything like it. Actually, yes, you have, when they tried to take flying permanently away. It was a similar backlash. And they put it straight back in. Oh, it's funny. So, what next? Yes, Mythic Plus with 7.1, or specifically with Trial of Valor coming out in 7.1. They've upped the rewards from some Mythic Pluses if you go a bit higher than level 10, for example. Now, if you complete a level 12, then in your chest the next week, you will have an item level 885 item. So the push now will be not just to get a level 10 done, if you want the really high item level stuff. It's to get a level 12 done. Remember, you don't have to beat the timer. You just have to complete it. But of course, that means having a level 12 key from someone. Be interested to see how many people actually manage to do that. More accounts have been banned for botting. There's been another wave. We haven't had one of these waves yet in Legion, but there's another one. What botting is, for those who may be not aware, it's when you have third-party software basically controlling parts of the game for you. In other words, usually what this is used for is for farming. So you set up a script to control your character and it'll go around farming herbs or nodes or whatever. But it can also be used by players who are actually at the keyboard. There were cases in Warlords of Draenor where there were a couple of waves banned where people were using bots for playing the game really well. In fact, we had a couple in our guild who mysteriously disappeared without a word, I have to say. Relatively new members of the guild when the bot wave went out. And at least one of those, it was for a bot that basically plays the game for you. So you're at your keyboard and talking everything around, pretending you're doing it, but in actual fact, this bot is actually making you do a near perfect DPS rotation. It's very bad. So it is good that Blizzard keep doing this. I mean, you know, some people will complain, well, they'll never get rid of all of them. But if they're going to keep banning thousands of accounts, as they said, and making a big deal of it, they're at least keeping a lid on it. So I think we need to give Blizzard some credit for that. Of course, Trial of Valor has released now. That's out, our filler raid. Except I don't really feel I should call it a filler raid now. Now that I've done it on normal and heroic, mythic to come, it's actually pretty good. It's really good. The Helya encounter is quite challenging, actually. So I'm going to have a full-on review of it coming out this weekend. But, yeah, I have to say, I very much enjoyed it. All the fights are actually decent in their own way. The trash, a bit... but the fights are all really good. And there is a good amount of challenge in Helya. Hell yeah. Now, if anyone's watching my streaming this week, I don't do a big amount of streaming, but every now and then people have to stream. And I think, well, at certain times, okay, I can do that. Do seem to have had a bit of an issue with the Twitch chat. In other words, I'll start streaming and for like 15 minutes or so, I'll be able to read the chat. And it's fine. I can't always respond, of course, because guild group, which means everyone's talking at once. And of course, if it was anything other than easy farm, I wouldn't do anyway, because I've got to concentrate on my job. I wouldn't even have the Twitch chat visible. But for some reason, after about 15 minutes, it just stops. You know, any new comments that are coming in there. Sorry if people were putting comments in, I can't read them. I'm not a technical expert when it comes to computers. I can't really tell exactly what the problem is. It seems to be an issue with Discord, I think. Now, I'm not sure what to do about that because my guild uses Discord for voice comms. I'm not sure if anyone else has had a problem with that and knows what the issue is. I am going to try and investigate it, but it's not going to be top priority for me, as I say, because if I'm going to be streaming gaming, it's usually stuff that I'm doing in guild anyway. And if it's in guild, I'm probably not going to respond to chat. And if it's progress stuff, I'm not even going to, or even difficult farm stuff, I'm not even going to read the chat either. And I do put a comment in the title that, you know, I'm streaming, you know, so you can see what I'm doing, but I can't actually respond to chat or even read it. So I'm not entirely sure what the problem is. I'm going to try and investigate that, though. But yeah, I'm not sure when that will be. And that's pretty much the news from me, my channel, and the world of Warcraft. In terms of what's interesting to me, there's actually a lot of new information out there that I need to digest, because there might be some other points of interest that have been coming out. But in terms of what I know, there's that. As I say, if Ian says anything really interesting tonight, then I will report on that over the weekend. If you want to see it yourself, just find World of Warcraft's Twitch, and you'll be able to watch it yourself live and maybe even post questions. They might even answer them even better. So hope you're having a good weekend, and until next time, I'll see you later.